Good day, or perhaps I mean good evening, friends, wherever you may be. I especially greet those of you who are graduating today, or family members and acquaintances near and far. But just as warmly, I greet all members of the Classics community. On behalf of the Department of Classics, I bid you welcome. My name is Grant Parker, and I've been department chair these past 2 years. The mission of the Department of Classics, which is one of Stanford's founding departments dating back to 1891, is to focus on the ancient Mediterranean world of very roughly 1200 before the Common Era to 500 of the Common Era. Its many histories, literatures, languages, cultural productions, and legacies. These we pursue using many different approaches and disciplines. The department's 130th year of existence, curtailed as it has been by the pandemic, has strained everyone's patience and goodwill. In classics, archaeologists have been especially hard hit in the restrictions they have faced in seeking to do primary research on sites and in archives in Mediterranean countries. Each of us has been curtailed in one respect or another and has lost something we hold dear. Students graduating or continuing, we applaud your fortitude in these times. If commencement previously seemed like a standard part of university life, the pandemic has upended that as it has upended so much. Nevertheless, commencement is something special in the life of our community and its members. It is the auspicious day on which the university confers undergraduate and graduate degrees. It is an occasion to reflect on the years of study that have gone into those degrees and on the overlapping communities which supported that study through enormous challenges. It is an occasion to wish individual graduates well for the new ventures that beckon while celebrating community itself. Now, at this point, I would usually report on the foregoing year's activities. Instead, I would like to herald the resilience our students and those working with them have shown in facing the strictures of COVID-19. Online teaching has been a challenge since its rude arrival, but it has been better than nothing. From the start, I've been pleasantly surprised by the speed at which both students and instructors adapted to the medium. This can only result, I think, from profoundly shared goals of teaching and learning. Even though the end of the pandemic is not yet in sight, we do look forward to renewing in-person classes and meetings and other kinds of sociability in the autumn term. Not only our classes, but our research seminars and informal gatherings will again have the in-person quality we might previously have taken for granted. We will value them all the more. This past unprecedented year is one that brought both losses and gains. Professor Sarah Diribow joined our department in September from the Harvard Society of Fellows and has already found a niche for herself in teaching and research. We are delighted she has joined our ranks. Professor Susan Stevens retires this summer following 43 years of service, rising from assistant professor to full professor and chair of classics, with spells as a senior associate dean of humanities and sciences. Susan, your contribution has been uniquely rich, and we wish you the very best in your next adventures. We shall miss you. At this point, I would like to turn it to the directors of graduate and undergraduate studies. At this point, I would like to introduce Professor Reviel Netz as Director of Undergraduate Studies to introduce the recipients of undergraduate degrees.
Thank you, Professor Parker. It is a pleasure and an honor to introduce our distinguished class of graduating majors and minors. Stanford Classics has always been proud of its students, and in this year of the pandemic, they shone through. Let me begin then by naming our prize-winning students. Those are the students whose exceptional achievement we mark with special departmental awards. The senior prize goes to the best academic achievement among the students in their senior year. The junior prize to the best in the junior year. Given our student body, you can imagine that the winners of such prizes are those who scale academic Everests. The senior prize goes to Tianyi Wang, majoring in classical studies. The junior prize goes to Didier Natalizzi Baldi, majoring in Greek and Latin. Congratulations to you both. We are in awe. The department also awards, as it finds appropriate, special prizes marking unique achievements. The Iris Prize recognizes students who are exceptionally effective ambassadors of classics to the community. It was easy to decide to award the Iris Prize this year and to award it to Will Shao. In the year of the pandemic, he reached out to the undergraduate community at Classics and beyond, building ties and creating spaces for students to come together. We thank you. I thank you personally. We also instituted this year a new award, the Museum Prize, awarded to a senior who served the muses by work in a museum collection. Sofia Colello, a student guide at the Cantor Art Center, has already become, through her years at Stanford, a superb scholar of ancient artifacts. On behalf of the muses, we thank you. At this point, I will proceed to name the graduating majors and minors. Sofia Colello graduates with a major in ancient history with honors, double majoring in archaeology. As I just mentioned, she is the inaugural winner of the Museum Award. Sofia is the author of an honors thesis titled Imperial Substance, Ancient Numismatics and the Malleable Conditions of Sovereignty. It is an original study of coins from ancient Armenia, contributing to our understanding of the borders and continuities between the Greco-Roman world and the ancient Near East. Sofia's life here at Stanford, as well as her research, breaks boundaries between classics and its adjacent fields, such as archaeology. Besides her work in the Cantor Art Center, Sofia also won a Hume Award, making her a student member of the Stanford Humanities Center. We proudly await your future interdisciplinary career. Sofia Colello, congratulations. Tianyi Wang graduates with a major in classical studies with distinction, a minor in computer science, and a master's in management science and engineering. He is the winner of this year's senior prize, recognizing not just his tendency to get the best grade in any subject he tackles, but also the sheer elegance and imagination he brings to his writing. He came to Stanford expecting to become an engineer. An essay on Greek tragedy launched a new path. Tianyi says that his career in the humanities made him more concerned with how to use technology proper, and not just how to develop it. Currently, Tianyi expects to move into law. Wherever he goes, we know he will excel. We are proud to have made an impact on Tianyi. He made an impact on us. Tianyi Wang, congratulations. Cass Plowman graduates with a major in classical studies, double majoring in history with honors. His classics career brought him, in past days when this was still possible, to the American School in Athens and to the archaeological excavation in the Athenian Agora. Alongside his studies in Greek and Latin, Cass has become a passionate scholar of American history. His highly praised honors thesis in history engages with the turn of the South from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party since 1960. Spanning a dazzling array of historical research across languages and continents, Cass studied the past to engage the present. Cass Plowman, Congratulations. Kriti Reddy graduates with a major in ancient history, double majoring in economics. Her talents are many: linguistic, entrepreneurial, athletic. She was a member of Stanford's national champion lightweight rowing team. Here at Stanford, she researched the arcane arts of investment, and beyond, she interned in an investment firm and in an anti-poverty venture. Wherever she goes next, Kriti is poised to make an impact. Kriti has studied such topics as Greek mythology and ancient eloquence, and has been eloquent in her favorite language, American Sign Language, in which she has conveyed Greek myth. The legacy we teach is therefore literally in Kriti's hands, and as Kriti ventures out from Stanford, we know we can trust those hands to carry it further. Kriti Reddy, congratulations. Will Shao graduates with a major in Greek and Latin with honors, with a minor in international relations and a minor in modern languages. He is the winner of the Iris Award. Will is the author of an honors thesis titled When Worlds Collide, Prophecy in Greek Tragedy. Will won a Hume Award, making him a student member of the Stanford Humanities Center. He is a published author and the editor of the Undergraduate Journal of Classics Aesthesis. Besides also being a research assistant at the Cyber Policy Center and the co-founder of the GovTech Network. To all his many accomplishments, I will add that he translated from the Greek, in my class, Archimedes' cattle problem, a difficult exercise in applied number theory, all recomposed as English iambic rhymes. Will Shao, congratulations. Calvin McMahon Tolbert graduates with a major in classical studies, double majoring in mathematics with a minor in economics, and a master's in management science and engineering. I will cite Professor Marsh McCall, who is Calvin's academic advisor. I taught his father Miles back in the day, and he has become a distinguished lawyer in Oklahoma. Calvin received fine classical training in Latin before arriving at Stanford, and he has done an excellent classics major. But is there any other classics major who also is an econ minor, a math major plus coterm, and a management master's? That looks to me like a quadruple set. Calvin is clearly headed to an invigorating career in the math sides of economic policy and planning. Calvin Tolbert, congratulations. Ariella Algazi graduates with a minor in classical languages, majoring in art history with honors, with an added minor in medieval studies. A fully fledged scholar of medieval art history, Ariella wrote an honors thesis on baptismal liturgy and imagery in 13th century Italy, studying with classics-affiliated faculty Professor Bisera Pancheva. She calls herself a medievalist, but we at Classics maintain an expansive view of our discipline. Ariella, to us you are a classicist. Ariella Algazi, congratulations. Samantha Bird graduates with a minor in classical studies, majoring in Earth systems. She is the captain of the equestrian team at Stanford, a thoroughly classical passion, though it was Latin and Greek tragedy that brought her to the department. At the moment, Samantha plans to move to NYC and work in sustainable investing. Samantha Bird, congratulations. Madeline Loenger graduates with a minor in classical studies, majoring in human biology. Madeline is an athlete, achieving national distinction for her rowing. Mythology brought her to classics, and she feels the study of classics brought an added perspective to her work in biology. She wishes to pursue a career in laboratory research. Madeline Loenger, congratulations. All of our students are impressive scholars and, indeed, uniquely successful human beings. As a Stanford professor, I am proud to have made a small contribution to their education. But the truth is that, at this level of achievement, you are self-made. Class of 2021, congratulations. I will now invite Professor Richard Saller, who is Klein-Heinz Family Professor of European Studies, to speak. Famous for his scholarship in Roman history, and more recently, having served as the Dean of Stanford School of Humanities and Sciences, Professor Saller is also the Director of Graduate Studies at the Department of Classics, and he has the honor of congratulating our graduate students. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be called on to award our 2021 Departmental Teaching Awards and our degrees in advanced graduate study. First of all, the Departmental Teaching Awards. This award recognizes graduate students with the strongest overall instruction in one or more courses in the most recent year. This award comes with a $500 check. Dylan Gish received perfect scores, 5.0, for 2 courses, Greek Mythology in summer of 2020, and The Secret Lives of Statues from Ancient Egypt to Confederate Monuments in autumn quarter. Secret Lives of Statues was designed by Dylan and was selected as part of the annual call for teaching at the Stanford Archaeology Center. Let me quote a few excerpts from the student evaluations to try to embarrass Dylan. Quote, "This course, Secret Lives of Statues, is hands down one of the best courses I've ever taken at Stanford. The subject matter is fascinating, being both theoretical and philosophical while also incredibly relevant. The format of the class is super engaging. The case studies we look at in every class are really interesting and build upon each other. The final project is also really fun and really cool to work on. It is an engaging class, and you come out of it learning so much new information and with a desire to keep learning about these subjects as you go out into the world." Another student, quote, "This class was really interesting to me as a CS major who had never before explored art history and archaeology. The lectures and discussions on each case study brought up so many complex and intriguing issues about statue displays that any student will gain a lot by thinking about it. Dylan, congratulations and thank you for your excellent contributions to our course offerings and for making a truly positive difference to Stanford students." Our other awardee is Rachel Dubit, and she's receiving the teaching award this year for her outstanding instruction in beginning Greek in winter quarter. The student evaluations say it all. Quote, "Rachel is hands down one of the best teachers I've ever had. She was better than most of the professors I've had at Stanford, gulp, and it would be a mistake by any institution not to hire her. She's thoughtful about what exercises and assignments she gives to students, above and beyond the detail she puts into every class. And she's genuinely here for the students, and you can tell." Another quotation, "Rachel made learning Greek very engaging and motivating despite the challenges of online teaching and time differences. I really appreciate the emphasis on reading original texts. It pushes me out of my comfort zone, but I like that as a reminder of why I wanted to learn Greek in the first place. I also like learning about Greek literary traditions, politics, and other cultural and historical knowledge in the language class. Rachel is a great instructor, and I would like to thank her for making my journey in Greek enjoyable." So congratulations, Rachel, and thank you for your stellar contribution to our ancient Greek language teaching. Today, we're awarding 3 master's degrees and 4 PhDs. First, Olivia Angston, Master of Arts in Classics, advised by Professor Jennifer Trimble. Olivia Angston came to Stanford with a BA from Cornell. She's interested in non-normative aspects of the ancient world, especially in relation to sexualities and alternative practices of power like ancient magic. Olivia says this focus is her way of seeing and honoring individuals and lives from the distant past who are otherwise forgotten or misunderstood. And this is also a way to connect the present world we live in with the ancient past. Her work as a teaching assistant for gender and power in ancient Rome brought Olivia and her interest to her students. She ran a discussion section on gender theory on Friday afternoons, and she designed and taught a segment of the course about ancient magic. The students' evaluations praised her ability to clarify and explain complicated topics, and also noted her approachability and kindness. This mattered all the more because this course took place in spring of 2020, right after the pandemic closed the campus down. Olivia coped smoothly with the sudden move to remote learning, and her compassion and accessibility helped the students continue learning despite the many disruptions and challenges of that quarter. Congratulations on your MA, Olivia. Avshalom Schwartz, Master of Arts in Classics, advised by Professor Josh Ober. Avshalom Schwartz is an immensely talented and accomplished PhD candidate in Stanford's political science department. Avshalom came to Stanford from the University of Tel Aviv, where he completed a double major in political science and economics and a master's in political science. Avshalom arrived at Stanford with the hope of writing a PhD thesis on the political imagination. When he fell in love with classical Greek political thought, he realized that he would need to learn to read Greek. I urged him to take the Berkeley Intensive Greek Summer Course. He wrote to me occasionally during that summer to the effect that if he survived it, he'd thank me. And he did emphasize the if. Having more than survived Berkeley's linguistic boot camp, he chose to embark on a language-intensive MA in classics here while simultaneously working on his PhD. He is, I believe, Stanford's first political theory PhD student to have done so. Avshalom is an award-winning teacher, an immensely valued mentor, and a great provider of public goods. He's writing an original and philosophically astute dissertation on the political imagination in the ethical and political thought of Thucydides, Aristophanes, Plato, and Aristotle. He will spend next year completing his dissertation as a Lieberman Graduate Fellow and, of course, reading Greek. Congratulations, Avshalom. Thomas Slabon, Master of Arts in Classics, advised by Professor Natasha Peponi. Thomas Slabon came to Stanford from the University of Toronto, where he earned an honors BA in philosophy and classics and an MA in classics. He's a PhD candidate in the Department of Philosophy, soon to defend his dissertation. But his continuing love for classical literature and culture made him decide to pursue a second MA in classics, concurrent with his PhD in philosophy. Thomas distinguished himself in our classes with his unceasing intellectual curiosity, the sharpness of the questions he tirelessly raised, his complex and theoretically informed ideas, and his keen understanding of the verbal arts. Thomas's deep engagement with classical paideia has enriched and elevated each and every seminar he took in the classics department, and we are sure will accompany him felicitously in all of his ambitions in his stellar career. Congratulations, Thomas. And now for the PhDs. First is Brian Biggio, Doctor of Philosophy in Classics. His dissertation entitled Saving the Mind, an etymological inquiry into the cognitive behavioral function of the ancient Greek value sophrosyneia, advised by Professor Richard Martin. Brian arrived at Stanford with a stellar record in post-baccalaureate work at Columbia University and a BA in philosophy from the Pontifical Catholic University in his native Peru. Working with faculty in classics and philosophy, he has written a path-breaking study of a key word in Greek, one that transforms our understanding of ancient ethical thought and psychology. His work centers on sophrosyneia, usually translated prudence or sound-mindedness. Brian's major discovery, based on intensive linguistic and textual analyses, is that sophrosyneia represents a uniquely Greek conceptualization of the interaction of mind and body. The word turns out instead to signify saving the mind. In Greek terms, this saving can only happen if the core of the body, lungs and heart, cooperate. Put another way, thought and literal inspiration are inseparable. Thinking is most evident when breathing becomes most brisk. Brian's remarkable work offers a revolutionary reimagining of how Greeks thought about thinking. For them, self-control, an all-important concept still debated and desired today, was, quote, a real psychosomatic achievement, end quote, as Brian puts it. He may not have solved the mind-body problem, but he brilliantly shows how one ancient culture articulated the issue for themselves, and why it still matters today. Anja Krieger, Doctor of Philosophy and Classics. Her dissertation entitled People, Ships, and the Sea, Seafaring in the Eastern Mediterranean, circa 13th century BCE to 4th century BCE, advised by Professor Michael Shanks. Anja's research field is ancient shipping and seafaring in the Eastern Mediterranean, especially from the Bronze Age second millennium into the middle of the first. This is quite a specialized field that has unfortunately been somewhat removed from mainstream archaeology and ancient history by virtue simply of the siloed character of archaeological research. Yet the subject of maritime archaeology is exceptionally rich. Anja has spotted this and is providing a synthetic foundation for making more of the archaeology of seafaring through a sophisticated appreciation, theoretical and substantive, of matters historiographical, the shape of the history of seafaring, pertaining to the archaeology of technology and techniques, shipbuilding and sailing, and to the anthropology of sea travel. Of particular note is the theoretical foundation of her study. Engaging main currents in contemporary archaeological and historical debate concerning networks of mobility across the Bronze Age, Iron Age transition in the Eastern Mediterranean, she has adopted a critical stand regarding the potential of strongly analytical techniques, particularly network analysis, because of the character of archaeological samples. The archaeology of shipping and shipwrecks rarely delivers data robust enough for meaningful statistical inference. In focusing more on the human experiences of seafaring, Anja is unlocking great potential for working with ancient lifeways in a more qualitative and humanistic fashion. This is a fresh and invigorating prospect that reminds us of the appeal of archaeology in throwing light on the diversity of human experience. Congratulations, Anja. David Pickle, Doctor of Philosophy and Classics. His dissertation, entitled The Malarial Landscapes of Roman Central Italy, an Archaeological Study of Disease Exposure, advised by Professor Justin Leidwanger. David Pickle's work offers a model for classical archaeology in the 2020s. It's deeply engaged with the material and historical record, reaching broadly across the natural and social sciences in its methods and models, and offering insights that resound within and beyond the walls of academia. His dissertation examines the intersection of malaria and socioeconomic life in the hinterlands of the Roman Empire's booming metropolis. He draws together the humble archaeological markers of human adaptation to mosquitoes as the disease's vector, with new readings of ancient texts, modern epidemiological models of transmission, and digital spatial analysis of rural environment and interaction. The result is an original approach to the persistent and uneven effects of endemic disease across the countryside, where the vast majority of ancient people dwelled. The ambitious interdisciplinary breadth of the project is a testament to David's strengths as a researcher, and he brings these same skills to the classroom and field site. The social and economic facets of contagious disease in ancient lives hold direct resonance in today's world, and his accomplishments in the face of such challenges are all the more memorable. Congratulations, David. Lizzie Tenhofer, Doctor of Philosophy in Classics. Her dissertation entitled Aeschylus and the Cultural History of Tragedy, Dramatic Connoisseurship, Ideology, and Poetics from the 5th century BCE to the 5th century CE. Advised by Professor Natasha Paponi. Lizzie Tenhofer came to us from McGill University in Montreal, where she received a BA in Classics in English Literature. Her interest in classical reception was already apparent in her undergraduate honors thesis on Seneca and the Elizabethan stage. At Stanford, she has been a vigorous participant in all things theatrical, from Stanford Classics in Theater to the Stanford Repertory Theater. She was the executive producer and company manager for the latter's 2018 production of Hecuba Helen. On the national scene, she served on the Committee on Ancient and Modern Performance for SCS annual meetings in 2018 and 2019. Apart from her prolific theatrical activity, Lizzie has strong interests in creative writing, she's already published poetry, and in design, more specifically in fiber arts. Her dissertation, Aeschylus and the Cultural History of Tragedy, Dramatic Connoisseurship, Ideology, and Poetics from the 5th century BCE to the 5th century CE, explores the way that different sensibilities and ideologies reimagined, reinterpreted, and revitalized Aeschylean drama over many centuries. Pursuing this topic with sensitivity to the theoretical and technical aspects of cultural history, Lizzie has made an important contribution to our understanding of Aeschylus' impact in antiquity. Apart from her scholarship, Lizzie is a gifted and creative instructor who has been teaching both Greek and Latin with great success and acclaim. Our department chair, Professor Grant Parker, will close our virtual ceremony. I do want to thank Grant for his tireless devotion to the department in the role of department chair over many years. So thank you, Grant.
Now that graduands have been acknowledged, it is time to bring this commencement to a close, at least in its more formal side. I would like to end with a personal word of thanks to all my faculty colleagues collectively for their adaptability and for their dedication to our students. I especially thank Professor Richard Saller as Director of Graduate Studies and Professor Raviel Netz as Director of Undergraduate Studies. Both have put in many Zoom hours mentoring our graduate students, optimizing their experiences, and thinking creatively about how to prepare for the future on the big and the small scale. I would also like to thank the Classics Office staff. Valerie Kiska, as Academic Operations Manager, has continued to anchor the life and lives of the department. Claudia Ortega, as Student Services Officer, has gently but firmly kept students and faculty alike focused on the needs of the moment, as well as the needs of the upcoming moment. Pamela Hara Aranthibia, as Administrative Coordinator, has done a great deal behind the scenes to make possible events such as this. Thank you, Team Classics, for supporting us through thick and thin. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.